you doing? I'm Whimsery, and today we're going to be watching 12 Angry Men. Why? Because I just really want to. You know, ever since we watched Psycho and I saw Martin Balsam, I think he's so cool. And I know, like, this movie might not have a lot of demand. I know, you know, it's from the 50s. I know it's still gonna be good. You know why? Because it is number 5 on the list that we sometimes go by. I know it's not a perfect list, but it's number 5. So I think this is actually the highest we've gone on this list, which is kind of exciting. I haven't seen anything in the top 5, so this will be as high as we've gone. The highest one on this list that I've seen is Return of the King, which of course I've seen that. As you might know, Lord of the Rings is my favorite trilogy, I guess. It's my favorite movie, I call it, but you know, it's 3 movies. A lot of people will say things like, that list is stupid, that list is wrong. I'm like, I don't take it seriously. I don't actually think these are in order the best movies. It's just people vote on them. I think it's a good measure. I don't see any terrible ones on here. Why is that there? I don't know, it's very subjective. I don't know. I don't like when people say, you know, you shouldn't do that. That's a stupid list. You're dumb for doing it. I don't know. People have been really rude about it. I'm like, I didn't make it. I don't know. I can't explain it. I saw it in my list of recommendations and I was like, yes, I want to watch that. Anyway, as usual, I have blabbed way too long. Let's just watch the movie.
You've listened to a long and complex case, murder in the first degree. It's now your duty to sit down and try and separate the facts from the fancy. There's a reasonable doubt in your minds as to the guilt of the accused. Then you must bring me a verdict of not guilty. Your verdict must be unanimous. Death sentence is mandatory in this case. You're faced with a grave responsibility. Thank you, gentlemen.
He looks bored. He looks young. It's kind of weird the way he's staring like that. Is this the murderer? I'm intrigued. Henry Fonda. Sounds familiar. Oh, Lee J. Cobb. We know who that is. I know who that is. Exorcist. Yeah, he's cool. Martin Balsam. Okay, let me try to tell these guys apart. They're all in very similar clothing. That doesn't help. It's the first time I see that director. The fan doesn't work. I can tell it's hot in there. They're all sweating. It sucks.
This is going to be the hottest day of the year. Well, you'd think that at least air condition these places. Huh?
I never knew they locked the door. Sure they locked the door. What'd you think?
Yeah, why would they?
Oh, I thought we might want to vote by ballot.
Maybe we can get him elected senator.
It was pretty interesting.
I almost fell asleep.
I've never been on a jury before.
Me neither.
I'd slap those tough kids down before they start any trouble.
They look like they don't want to be here. I guess that's normal.
I tell you, we were lucky to get a murder case. Assault or burglary. Boy, they can be the dullest. Go here, huh? Well, the guy's still in the bathroom.
He's pooping.
I don't know about the rest of you, but I happen to have tickets to that ball game tonight. You're a real baseball fan, aren't you?
Awkward.
We'd sit in order, you know, by jury numbers, 4, 5, so on around the table.
That's a good idea.
We'd like to get started. Gentlemen at the window.
Yeah, he's just been standing there.
The old man is inside.
Still in the bathroom. Finally, we all know what you were doing in there.
Oh, forgive me, gentlemen. I didn't mean to keep you waiting. I think it's customary to take a preliminary vote.
Who knows? Maybe we can all get out of here, huh?
Uh-huh. Have a first-degree murder charge, and if we vote the accused guilty, we've got to send him to the chair.
It's a huge decision.
This has to be 12-0 either way. That's the law. All those voting guilty.
Oh, there's
okay,
only
it's
one.
11 guilty. Not guilty.
Oh.
Boy, oh boy, there's always one. You really think he's innocent? I don't know. The kid's a dangerous killer, you can see it. He's 18 years old. Stabbed his own father, 4 inches into the chest.
It's not easy to send a boy off to die without talking about it first.
Yeah.
Who says it's easy?
No one.
Seems easy for you.
We can't decide it in 5 minutes, supposing we're wrong.
You can suppose anything.
That's right. Ball game doesn't start till 8 o'clock.
Great. I heard a pretty good story last night. That's not why we're...
This kid's been kicked around all of his life. Hit on the head by somebody once a day, every day.
What do you think that trial cost? He's lucky he got it.
I've lived among them all my life. You can't believe a word they say.
Only an ignorant man can believe that. I think certain things should be pointed out to this man.
gentleman down there. Let us know what you're thinking. He might be able to show you where you're mixed up. Well, it was just a quick idea. No. That's a good one. Suppose we go once around the table.
Nobody proved otherwise.
The burden of proof's on the prosecution.
I mean, somebody saw him do it.
And I have no personal feelings about this.
He's so young.
The old man lived downstairs under the room where the killing took place. Said it sounded like a fight. He heard the kid yell out, "I'm gonna kill you." Saw the kid running down the stairs and out of the house. Police, they came in, found the old man with a knife in his chest around midnight. These are facts. He's still got to pay for what he did.
Sounds reasonable.
The boy's entire story was flimsy. He claimed he was at the movies. He couldn't remember the names of the films he saw or who played in them.
Here's a woman who's lying in bed. She looks out the window. Across the street, she sees the kid stick the knife in.
Through the windows of a passing L train.
They proved in court that at night you can look through the windows and see what's happening on the other side.
How come you believe the woman? She's one of them, too, isn't she?
Who's them?
You're a pretty smart fella, aren't you? What's he so wise about?
Now, can I pass it?
Little pass.
If you don't have a motive, where's your case, right? Didn't they say something about a fight and an argument between the old man and his son?
Heard the father hit the boy twice.
Mm.
He said it provided a motive. Violence is practically a normal state of affairs with him.
Mm.
Everyone has a breaking point. How about you?
I don't know. It's all been said.
He does not care. He just wants to go.
He's picked up twice for knife fighting.
It's these kids, the way they are nowadays. You got any kids?
3?
I got one. 22 years old. But I'm gonna make a man out of you if I have to break you in two trying. When he was 16, we had a fight. I haven't seen him for 2 years. Work your heart out.
Children from slum backgrounds are potential menaces to society.
The kids who crawl out of these places are real trash.
I've lived in a slum all my life.
Wait a minute.
Please.
Let's not be so sensitive.
Sensitivity, I can understand.
He's got a good point, though.
We decided to, do this a certain way.
Stop being a kid, will ya?
What do you mean, a kid?
K-I-D, kid.
Hey, don't come for him.
I mean, here, you take it. You take on the responsibility.
Right?
Calm down, will ya?
You calm
Don't
down.
calm down. Hey, you want to take the chair? Listen, you think it's funny or something?
Forget it, fella. The whole thing's unimportant. Come on.
You guys don't appreciate anything.
It's also possible for a lawyer to be just plain stupid, isn't it?
You sound like you met my brother-in-law once.
Those two witnesses were the entire case for the prosecution.
This isn't an exact science.
That's right, it isn't.
That's a good point. You gotta be sure.
There's some people who haven't talked to.
Be quiet a second, will you?
He never talks.
It had a very unusual carved handle and
He
blade.
also claims that the two detectives arrested him and threw him down a half a flight of stairs.
That it fell through a hole in his pocket on the way to the movies, and that he never saw it again. He even remembered to wipe the knife clean of fingerprints. Someone picked it up off the street and stabbed his father with it just to test its sharpness. I've never seen one like it. Neither had the storekeeper.
Where did that come from?
I bought that in a little pawn shop just 2 blocks from the boy's house.
The odds are 1,000,000 to 1.
It's possible.
Interesting. Wow, he did some work.
What's interesting about it? Interesting.
It's so rare that
A boy may die.
Well, why don't we just set up house here, huh? And we'll just sweat the whole thing out, right?
I don't think he ought to joke about it.
What do you want me to do?
I have a proposition to make to all of you. I want to call for another vote. Vote by secret written ballot.
Oh, that's a good idea.
There are 11 votes for guilty. I won't stand alone. But if anyone votes not guilty, we stay here and talk it out.
Yeah, do that.
All right, let's do it the hot
Easy.
Yeah, that sounds fair. Everyone...
Yeah, because can you imagine sending someone and you're not really sure? Can you imagine? Oh, it would haunt you. It would haunt you forever. I wouldn't be able to do it. Unless there's enough evidence and you're just totally sure. Basically, you have to see it happen.
Guilty. Guilty, not guilty. Boy, how do you like that?
Flips his wings.
All right.
Brother, you really are something. Why don't you drop a quarter in this collection box?
Wow.
It's very excitable. Sit down.
Excitable!
He didn't change his vote. I did.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Do we have to listen to this?
The man wants to talk.
He doesn't say the boy is not guilty. He just isn't sure.
Right?
I'm talking here. You have no right to leave this
Can't hear you. Never will. Let's sit down.
That's good advice. Boy, he doesn't care. He's been checked out.
I'm a watchmaker. Oh, really?
You look like one.
Run it up the flagpole and see if anyone salutes it. It's idiotic, but it's funny.
Didn't mean to get nasty.
Oh. Oh, he's still pissed. Now this guy just wants to go to his game.
I got a different technique. Laughs, drinks, jokes, tricks. I made 27 grand last year selling marmalade.
Wow.
It's not bad. I mean, you know, considering marmalade. Hey, what are you getting out of this?
He's already said.
Somebody bump you on the
Why?
head one time. You know, you do-gooders are all alike. We're gonna all get sore throats if we keep it up.
What difference does it make if you get it here at the ballgame?
No difference at all.
I still want to know what the older guy meant when he said them. They're all the same. What was he talking about? I know I'll figure it out, but I'm confused.
Betting you've never been wronger in your life.
Supposing you were the one that was on trial.
I'm not used to supposing. I'm just a working man. My boss does the supposing, but I'll try one. Supposing you talk us all out of this, kid really did knife his father, huh?
That's true. That's the downside. I mean, if that happens, he'll get caught again if he does it again. That's a risk, though, too, isn't it?
Has anybody here how long it would take an elf?
Is that tic-tac-toe? You...
This isn't a game.
It's not a game! Shucks.
Did you see him? The nerve.
All right.
Absolute nerve.
How long it takes an elevator train going at medium speed to pass a given...
I don't know, maybe 10, 12 seconds?
When the window is open and the train goes by, the noise is almost unbearable. The old man in the apartment downstairs. He heard the boy say, "I'm gonna kill you." Split second later, heard a body hit the floor.
Oh.
The woman across the street saw the killing through the last two cars of a passing elevator train. The train had been roaring by a full 10 seconds before the body hit the floor. Would have had to hear the boy make this statement with the yell roaring past. Even if he heard something, he still couldn't have identified the voice.
I agree.
Something I don't think he could have heard it.
Hey, what's he got to gain?
Attention, maybe. Why don't you send them into a paper? They pay $3 a piece.
Guy talks like that to an old man really ought to get stepped on.
Yeah, you're being...
You ought to have more respect, mister. You say stuff like that to him again, I'm gonna lay you out.
I like this guy. It's true, he's being very rude for no good reason.
You say anything you like.
Thank you.
Why do you think the old man might lie?
Yeah, it was just that I looked at him for a very long time. Same if his jacket was split. I mean, to come to court like that. He was a very old man in a torn jacket. He was dragging his left leg. I think I know this man better than anyone here, who has been nothing all his life, who has never had recognition or his name in the newspaper. Nobody knows him. Nobody seeks his advice after 75 years. Perhaps he made himself believe he heard those words.
But what do you know about it?
That's...
This phrase, how many times have all of us used it? I could kill you for that, darling.
I was arguing with the guy I worked next to at the bank. He called me an idiot, so I yelled at him.
You really think the boy'd shout out a thing like that so the whole neighborhood could hear it? Oh, he's much too bright.
He's a common ignorant slob. He don't even speak good English.
Doesn't.
I'd like to change my vote to not guilty.
Look, the kid had a lawyer, didn't he?
He was court appointed. Could mean he didn't want the case or he resented being appointed. The kind of case that brings him nothing.
Oh, yeah.
He'd really have to believe in his client to put up any kind of a good case.
Why would he come back home 3 hours later?
Came home to get his knife. It's not nice to go around leaving knives sticking in people's chests.
I mean, he's kind of funny.
Why did he leave it there in the first place?
I mean, heat of the moment.
He would have had to be calm enough to see to it that there were no fingerprints. Where did this panic start and where did it end?
I bet he figured nobody'd find the body the next day.
She screamed, then went to telephone the police. So he knew that somebody saw something.
Remember, he lived in a neighborhood where screams were fairly commonplace.
True. Y'all are so smart.
Boy, how do you like that?
Now, look, witnesses can make mistakes.
I'm talking here.
Have a vote called for.
Yeah, you tell him. He's gonna beat you up.
We can yak here next Tuesday. Where's it all getting us?
He's not productive.
Not guilty.
Hell yeah. What's that smile? This is so great. Did you see how he smiles?
8-4, favor of guilty.
Seen ramming this into his father.
You're yelling with a knife in your hand.
That's not the knife, don't you remember? Brilliant.
Did the old man say he ran to the door? I don't see how he could have run to the door.
Because his leg.
Mr. Foreman, I'd like to see a diagram of the apartment.
How come you're the only one in this room who wants to see exhibits all the time?
He had a stroke last year. Can get from his bedroom to his front door in 15 seconds.
How does he know how long 15 seconds is? You can't judge a thing like that. Half the time he was confused. How could he be positive about anything?
Oh, he knows what he said.
You ought to be at Atlantic City at that hair splitters convention.
The old man was in this bedroom right here. Walked 43 feet down and opened the front door.
To help him into the witness chair.
You make it sound like a long walk.
I'm going to try it. See how long it took.
Look, this is absolutely Speed it up. He walked twice as fast as that.
Yeah, you should walk a little faster. Just just for the benefit of the doubt, because he could have been all rattled. You know, you never know.
Lock, door, stop.
41 seconds.
Here's what I think happened. Heard somebody racing down the stairs and assumed it was the boy.
Assume? Suddenly you start getting through to some of these old ladies. Well, you're not getting through to me.
This guy's a jerk.
Letting them slip through our fingers.
Are you his executioner?
I'm one of them.
You're a sadist. You don't really mean you'll kill me, do you?
You just need to give up.
You know, friendly little argument. Listen, we're through with that diagram.
He's so calm and reasonable. He's not. He doesn't care about this kid's life.
Beg pardon, what are you so polite about?
It's the way I was brought up.
Ooh.
What is a remarkable thing about democracy, that one of the reasons why we are strong.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I haven't given it much thought, but let's throw it out on the stoop and see if the cat licks it up.
Cat licks it up.
Yeah. Boy, oh boy, it's really hot, huh?
Yeah, you guys are wearing a lot of clothes too.
Don't you ever sweat?
No, I don't.
He really doesn't. Everyone else is.
Maybe we should take another vote. Maybe we can follow this one up with a little dancing and refreshments.
Why are you such a smartass?
Anyone doesn't want to vote?
See, look how much he's sweating.
Call up your jury numbers. 1. Oh, that's me. I vote guilty.
Not guilty. Guilty.
Number 8.
Out of spite. He's just pissed. I bet he'd change it if he could get out of there.
Number 12.
Guilty.
Guilty. I can't believe how this has changed so much. It's flipped. Oh, it's a tie.
I'd like to be a few years younger. That man gets on my
Oh no. Oh.
popping here, isn't it, huh?
Want a drink of water?
They need to put some AC in there. Look at them, poor things. Except for the guy who doesn't sweat. What?
You're like everybody else. You think too much, you get mixed up.
Loudmouth.
I wonder what state this is. I didn't catch it.
Hey, what is it with this fan here? How come?
No, we tried it already.
Hey, huh?
Well, it works now.
Well, things are looking up here, huh?
He's sitting right next to it, too.
That's a damn stupid thing to do.
You know?
Wow.
I'm ready to walk into court right now and declare a hung jury.
Don't fully understand the term reasonable doubt.
What do you mean, I don't understand?
After the boy claimed he'd been at the movies, couldn't remember the names of the movies.
The only alibi the boy offered. Couldn't back it up with any details at all.
You think you could remember details under those circumstances?
Monday night, my wife and I went to the movies.
What did you see?
The Scarlet Circle.
What was the second feature?
The Remarkable Mrs. Bainbridge.
It's called The Amazing Mrs. Bainbridge.
Who was in the...
Barbara Long, I think it was.
Who else?
I'd never heard of them before.
And you weren't under an emotional stress.
I wasn't.
I like how he's not getting angry about this.
A very awkward thing to stab down into the chest of someone who's half a foot taller than you.
I'll give you a demonstration. Somebody get up.
No, thank you. No, that's scary.
What's that? Down and in, I guess there's no argument.
Anyone who's ever used the switch knife wouldn't handle it any other way.
Oh, the kid was into knives.
That's why they're made to open like that. Nobody experienced he'd had all his life handling these things.
Were you in the room when the father was killed?
That's such a bad point. Were you in there with him? Well, were you?
I don't know about the rest of them, but I'm getting a little tired of this yakety-yak, so I guess I'll have to break it up. I changed my vote to not guilty.
See, because he wants to leave.
What kind of a man are you? Right to play like this with a man's life? Don't you have the guts to do what you think is right?
Not guilty.
Why?
Look, I don't have to.
You do have to.
I think he's got a lot of pride. 8?
9.
Finally! Come on, 1.
I don't understand you people. You know how these people lie? Born in them. Oh, they're real big drinkers, all of them. There's some good things about them, too. Look, I'm the first one to say that.
Oh, he sounds so familiar.
This kid is a liar. I know it. I know all about them. I'm speaking my piece, and you...
They've had enough.
Well, don't you know about them?
No one's with you. Your small mind.
Prejudice always obscures the truth. We 9 can't understand how you 3 are still so sure.
The evidence given by the woman who actually saw the murder committed. She saw him do it the wrong way.
All right, I'm changing my vote. It's guilty.
Oh.
Anybody else?
Personal triumph for you.
Really? I feel like he'll never change.
Maybe we can talk about setting some kind of time limit. 6:15,
You made a gesture that reminded me of something. Why, you rub your nose. At this point, I happen to be talking to the gentleman sitting next to you. Is it because of your eyeglasses?
It is.
Two deep impressions from the sides of your nose. That must be annoying. Oh, I wouldn't know about that. 20/20.
I like this guy.
The woman had those same marks. Brand new clothes, no glasses. The women do that.
I was the closest one to her. She had these things in the side of her nose.
Marks be made by anything other than eyeglasses?
No, they couldn't.
She had marks on her nose from glasses, right? She didn't want to wear them out of the house or people would think she's gorgeous.
Do you wear glasses when you go to bed?
Right?
No one wears eyeglasses to bed.
I say she only saw a blur.
60 feet away at night.
It's not possible.
No, it's not possible.
He's full of it.
You think he's guilty?
Wow, I wasn't expecting that. He's had time to think by himself over there.
I'm convinced. Not guilty. I have a reasonable doubt now.
11-1.
You're alone. I want to hear your argument.
Yeah, I'm curious why he's so adamant.
Everything says he's guilty. What do you think? I'm an idiot or something?
The old man saw him. What's the difference how many seconds it was? But you can't prove it. Everything that's gone on has been twisted.
I've got all the facts here.
Well, that's it. That's the whole case. Say something.
He doesn't feel good about it anymore.
Rotten kids, you work your life out.
No, not guilty.
We're ready now.
Why do I feel bad for him? You did it! Somehow, you went from 1 to 12 not guilties. It's crazy. Oh, and he's so nice. No one else stayed back for him. He's obviously in pain. Good job. If he hadn't been there, just that one person hadn't been there.
What's your name?
Davis.
My name's McCardle. Well, so long.
Wow. Wow, just wow. Wow, that was something else. That was an amazing movie. I enjoyed that so very much. It went by so fast too. Oh my goodness. I am gonna have a lot to say about this one. Okay, so if you're new to my channel, usually what I'll do is I'll rewatch the movie a few times, edit my video, read a little bit about it, and then I come back to you with my outro. So that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so as always, we're going to start with a quick awards ceremony and then move on to talk about the film. The award for funniest moment goes to Juror 9 for this.
That's a damn stupid thing to do.
Scariest screenshot goes to. There actually weren't many to choose from, so not really a jump scare like it usually is, but more like someone brought a Lee J. Cobb puzzle and they're really terrible at puzzles. The most seductive, yes, you heard right, I bet you weren't expecting that award to be given tonight, but it is. The most seductive moment goes to... I'm just being a smartass. The award for most legendary screenshot goes to... again, Juror 3 for this. Iconic. Iconic, my dear. Iconic. Stop. So, this movie, and I don't use this term very often, kicked ass. It blew me away. And I knew it would be good because of the couple of you who hinted at it being good, and the fact that, you know, it's from around the same time as, you know, Psycho, and I love that one so much, but I had no idea. Y'all. I can't remember the last time I enjoyed a piece of media this much. Not even just watching it for the first time, but the second time, and the third time, and editing it too. Not to mention the camera work and the editing. I want to call it a breath of fresh air, but I can't, because it was here first. So I've never been on a jury myself, but I always hear it talked about the way that juror number 12 jokes about it.
I tell you, we were lucky to get a murder case.
Apparently it's super boring. So a quick search and ABC.com tells me that 27% of Americans have been called. So I don't know for sure, but I feel like this kid who got accused of murder, this kid got lucky. Very, very lucky. The majority of these men are intelligent, reasonable, well-spoken. I feel like if we rolled the dice again, we would end up with a much worse outcome for the kid and a much shorter, boring movie. Hell, if this jury changed by one person, the outcome would be completely different. So right from the beginning, they do a great job of setting up the story.
First-degree murder charge here, and if we vote the accused guilty, we've got to send him to the chair.
The exposition never feels forced, even though several things are repeated throughout so that the audience doesn't get lost if they zone out for 5 seconds or something. The cinematography is also perfect in a subtle way. The way that angle goes from one juror to the next, I truly feel like I'm in the same room with them. So for this outro, I mostly just want to focus on the characters because that's what's interesting the most to me, at least. Like, how are you going to introduce 12 whole characters to me in black and white all at once and ask me to not only be able to tell them apart but also care about them and, you know, feel like I know them at least a little bit. Just how? Starting with the accused. He's not given a name, mostly just called the boy or the kid. The camera focuses on him for only a moment, and then we get the sense that we're leaving, and then sure enough, it fades, and we're settled into this room with 12 strangers. I think I finally figured out what Juror 10 meant by them. Those people. It's obviously some form of prejudice, and at first I thought he meant poor people maybe, but as the movie went on it makes me think it's much more specific, so I settled on immigrants that he's talking about. I tried to narrow it down to race, but the kid is pretty ambiguous looking, and maybe that's on purpose so that we as an audience would feel obligated to go through our own thoughts, biases, or assumptions based on what little information we're given on the accused. I feel weird calling him that. It doesn't sound very nice, does it? The accused. That's what he doesn't have a name! None of them have names until the end. Like, 2 of them eventually have names. It's such a brave, bold move. Like, let's just not even give these people names and expect people to care. Anyway, back to the I want to do something new. Let's make a tier list. Yes, a tier list. I want to rank them based on how effective they were as jury members, but I also am a little biased because it is a work of fiction. So I may like someone better, not because they're smarter per se, but because they brought more to the movie. Starting with, should we go in order? I think we should go in order, but starting with juror number 2, because I want to do juror number 1 last, because he's special. Oh, by the way, I named these tiers based on 1950s slang. I had to look it up because I don't know any 1950s slang, although some of it we still use, not including the word ginchi, which apparently means great, awesome, attractive, like all the good things. Ginchi, like, that's ginchi. Is it ginchi? I don't... Does anyone know? Did you ever use the word ginchi? Ginchi. Ginchi. It's gotta be ginchi, right? It's not a good word. That's why it didn't last. Okay? Cool did, though. And cool started apparently really getting popular in the 1950s, around this time. So, cool cat was a term in the 1950s. So yeah, if you end up in the cool cat category, then, I like ya. And also, if you end up in the middle category, which is razzes my berries. Razzes my berries. You interest me, you excite me. You razz my berries. A little, because it's the middle tier, okay? You don't razz all the berries. What does that mean? It sounds weird. I kind of love it, to be honest. I might start saying that phrase. Cruising for a bruising. If I put you in that tier, well, I kind of want to punch you in the face. I would never do that. I would never punch anyone, but someone's gonna. Cruising for a bruising. You don't want to end up there. And if you end up in the wet rag category, well, how'd you do that? You really suck. Wet rag is, I mean, I feel like we still use that. I've heard that, just kind of like not good. It's not a good thing to be. You don't want to be the wet rag. And we all know who's gonna end up there. We'll see. It's a mystery. I want to hold you in suspense, okay? Let's go. Juror number 2. I need to get something out of the way. This quiet, polite man is played by John Fedler, who I didn't recognize based on sight, but my ears picked up on something, and it took me much longer than the first watch for some reason to realize he's the voice of Winnie the Pooh's Piglet. You know how much I love unique voices and voice acting, so he's pretty much a legend in my book. Weirdly, a big part of my childhood, I wasn't allowed to watch a lot of stuff, but there is no religion strict enough to ban Winnie the Pooh. Great voice. He's got a great voice. Also, great character here. I see him as kind of nerdy and underappreciated in society and underestimated. Juror number 2 strikes me as a loyal person, and if you treat him with respect, he'll be more amenable to hear you out. Juror 8 and a couple others did so, and he came to their side with enough confidence to bring up the important angle of the knife details. He might be somewhat withdrawn socially, but that doesn't mean he doesn't pay attention to the human interactions going on around him. He's particularly aware of passive-aggressive undertones as someone who's chronically underestimated and has no patience for bullies.
Now listen, I don't think you have any right to... Loudmouth.
And that leads us to juror number 3. He says he has no personal feelings in the beginning. I call BS on that. Straight up BS.
I have no personal feelings about
I say in the beginning, he doesn't care about this kid at all, but I don't think he stopped to think about this actual real life young man that he's looking at in his actual life. He hasn't stopped to realize that the real person. He sees him more like as a symbol, if I could word that better. Juror number 3 is a total jerk. Loud, angry, mean. However, I like him. Not because it's Lee J. Cobb, although to be honest it's partly that, but also because he's at several points throughout the movie shown that he's not this heartless, cold guy that he seems from the outside. Such an incredible performance. Here, when he gets increasingly uncomfortable as everyone stares at him from the other side of the road after his wallet spills and he feels vulnerable in the open. Here, when the rage he's displayed the whole time starts to falter as the pain breaks through onto his face and into his voice, there's a small noise like a wounded animal or a little boy. It's impossible not to feel sympathy for him here. My heart hurts for the emptiness that his pride has caused. The distance between him and his son is so vast, so deep. He's so frozen solid to his end of this bitter clash that it's as if he's forgotten that he can very well walk across it and end it by picking up the phone. I assume he had a phone. By 1957, 75% of Americans had one. Irrelevant. Anyway, he said he runs a messenger service, so he knows how to communicate. It's actually kind of fitting there. Anyway, just an incredible performance by Lee J. Cobb. The character is so well written, and his acting here is phenomenal. I can't even sometimes. He's introduced, and within 10 seconds, you feel like you know this guy, really know him. But there's also a part of him that you can't know, that no one knows. I believe that Lee J. Cobb played this better than anyone ever could or will. And that's how I feel about this particular performance. Moving on.
Slip through our fingers. Are you his executioner? I'm one of them.
Juror number 4. He's one of the most interesting, one of the most level-headed, analytical people in the room, yet he is the very last besides Lee J. Cobb's character to be convinced. He is influenced by logic and facts only. It's hard to believe that he and Juror 10 are pushing for the same verdict. He acknowledges that the woman's testimony is unshakable evidence, and that is why he clings to his viewpoint, not simply because it's the one he started with or something. He's extremely intelligent, and pride does not come into play here. A broker by day and by night? I don't know what he does at night. I just know that he doesn't do it wearing glasses.
No one wears eyeglasses to bed.
I wear my eyeglasses at night so I can prove this guy wrong.
I have a reasonable doubt now.
Juror number 5. He seems like a really nice guy. Down to earth. He rightfully takes offense to the stereotyping that goes on, brings light to the hypocrisy. You can't just say poor people are trash, then the poor person sitting next to you goes, hello, and then you backtrack and you're like, well, not you, the other poor people. You know, it's hypocrisy. And he kind of calls that out. Where shall we put him?
I've lived in a slum all my life.
Okay, we've got juror number 6. He's more of an average Joe. He mentions painting a house, I think, so he works with his hands, really blue collar. Nice guy though, reasonable. I like the moment in the bathroom where he points out to number 8 that he might be wrong. Juror 8 is so afraid of being wrong one way that he neglects to entertain the possibility of misstepping in the opposite direction. I also like the way he stood up for the old man. I've done this in real life many times and I know how risky it is. And for this reason, he is a cool cat.
I'm just a working man. My boss doesn't suppose.
Moving on to juror number 7. 777. I feel kind of bad for him. Okay, here's why. He's out of his element. He can't bring himself to care and doesn't see it as his responsibility. I don't do this with real people, but I am going to armchair diagnose him right now. He has got ADHD. He's got ADHD hard. He's bored. He's proud of his social skills and his ability to make people laugh. He worked hard for that. He might be a little insecure to be lacking in this quiet, deep thinking, possibly intellectually superior juror number 8 beside him.
He was court appointed.
Now, what's that supposed to mean?
Or some of the others.
Maybe you don't fully understand.
What do you mean, I don't understand?
His main skill is not appreciated here, so he stops trying. I like what they showed in the bathroom scene. He brags about 27 grand in marmalade sales, and once again, juror 8 rejects him by not being impressed, not reciprocating with details about his own job, and by not laughing at his jokes. The calmer the main character is, the more agitated it seems to get, even going so far as to insult him.
Or did somebody bump you on the head one time and you haven't gotten over it?
I get this feeling that deep down, not that deep, juror number 7 is a good person. He copes with humor. He can't go 2 sentences without a joke squeezed in there.
Why don't you stop making smart remarks all the time?
Oh, my friend.
I kind of wonder why. I want to know why he does that. I want to know his life story. I bet it's not all rainbows and butt cracks, but I'm really glad he ended up on the jury because he is hilarious.
My friend, for your $3 a day,
All right,
you
now
have to
you
listen
got
to
that thing in
everything.
here.
And for that reason, he goes,
This kid is guilty, pal. It's as plain as the nose on your face.
what? I also won't overlook the fact that he brought up a very important point, such as the kid's violent history. That's pretty crucial in determining whether or not this person should be let back into society. It's easy to dismiss because consequences were minimal due to his age before he could be tried as an adult. Last thing about number 7, and we're moving on. Last thing, I love how he speaks in sports terms half the time. Halftime, I don't know. Football. He's always speaking in these baseball terms. It's just such good writing.
Oh, and the Baltimore Rooter returned from the gun now.
And now we find ourselves at juror number 8, the main protagonist. The story wouldn't exist if he had just gone with what everyone else was doing. He's so respectful, even towards those he doesn't agree with. He goes out of his way for this case in his own time, which I guess would play out differently in real life. And I guess he could be arguing just for the sake of arguing. I mean, the prospect of, and the challenge of, converting 11 other people with the highest stakes possible is like God-level speech and debate. But his compassionate nature is verified in the final scene where he stays behind to help juror number 3 with his coat. Everyone else just left, and there was no one left to impress. He's the real thing. Love ya. Now, juror number 9. This man is hilarious. I haven't seen anything else with him in it, but I'm really curious to see if he plays a lot of comedic roles. He's just naturally funny and expressive, and this character is so entertaining. He's got his flaws, of course, but there's no way you can hate this guy. I was wondering, though, I couldn't find it anywhere online. Does anyone know? Anyone out there, do you know why every time it shows juror number 9, or at least like half the time, it's up really, really close to his face? Does anyone know, like, have any theories about why they chose that angle? It's like right up in his face, because they don't do that with any of the other jurors. Why do they do it with him? I don't know, I thought that was a really, really interesting creative choice, and I couldn't scratch in my head. I'm like, I don't know.
I think I know this man better than anyone here.
Juror number 10. You know who I'm talking about. You know where he's going. Straight to the bottom tier. I guess it can't go. We're not... That's dark. He's not going to hell. This guy is the worst. Non-stop complaining, needing attention, interrupting, and a bigot on top of that. I did like that he took some time to sit by himself and think about why he's alone in the end, and maybe, yeah, that's an oversimplification of that problem, but we can hope. Although I don't like the character, I found this actor to be pretty funny, and I especially got a kick out of this indignant, childish expression he does when something is taken from him. It's really entertaining to watch from this actor. Okay, juror number 11. By the time this movie's over, it's hard to imagine this man ever voted guilty. He becomes one of the most invested, and I think he sees some parallels between him and the accused and starts to see it as more personal. He has some great lines and comebacks, and that smile he does, that kills me. Does he razz my berries, though? You bet he does!
Where did this panic start and where did it end?
Juror number 12. He goes with the flow. My theory is he's not confident enough to stand on his own. He's out of his element in this room. He's used to people laughing at his jokes, kind of like number 7, but he's upset that these people aren't finding him interesting or particularly funny.
Well, it was just a quick idea.
No. That's a good one.
This made me feel kind of bad because he's just trying to lighten the mood. At least he's not sitting there complaining. I think he was seen as weak for changing his vote twice, but I don't see that as a bad thing necessarily. He's not, stuck in his ways. He's more liquid than the others, sure. But I don't know, I kind of see that as a good thing. I thought he was funny, especially that comment he made about the cat licking it up. He's like, see what the cat licks up. They did a really good job with the comedic breaks. It'd get really serious, full of tension. The room is just so tight. It's so, it's just really serious. And then someone makes a joke and it's just kind of like we can actually feel the air conditioning kick in. Or the rain, or whatever, a break in the tension. I thought that was really cool.
I haven't given it much thought, but let's throw it out on the stoop and see if the cat licks it up.
Okay, that's all the characters. Nope. It's not. Back where we started. Juror number 1.
I don't think he ought to joke about it.
What do you want me to do?
Oh.
He's totally the dad of the group. I'm not sure how they did it in the 50s. Not sure if he was chosen as foreman by his fellow members or if it's because he was summoned first, but I love how naturally he falls into this role. All things considered, I don't think there was anyone who could have done it better. Imagine trying to keep this group organized, and you can tell how draining it is towards the end. He's so tired he forgets his own number that he came up with, and it's the easiest number.
Oh, that's me.
As a baby, it's the first one you learn. It's the first one. It's the easiest number. You're 1. You're 1. He was so tired. It was really sad, though. It's like... Everyone was so over it by the end. Juror 1 had the hardest job of anyone, and even takes on more responsibility so that it's his job to keep everyone on topic, validate people's opinions and protect their feelings, try not to let people get punched, try not to punch people. He'd win this fight too. Anyway, Juror 1 totally wins for me. Full disclosure, I am hella biased.
Well, I thought we'd sit in order, by jury numbers.
I think this is a great representation that the extreme on either side has its faults. Juror number 3 has accepted that evidence presented in court is absolutely cement as far as reliability goes. Those are the facts. He doesn't let anything sway him from there on out. He sees any attempt at humanizing the boy on trial as a sob story. He's not a bleeding heart, he's got conviction. The spectrum, you know. There's empathy and, you know, emotions on this side and logic and facts on this side, but it can't be that simple though. There's so much to it, and I think that's just a really just unique and beautiful thing. Real quick, I did want to acknowledge the fact that 12 Angry Men is based on a teleplay by Reginald Rose, who you can thank for the screenplay. And what was interesting to me also is that the director, this was the first film he ever directed. Can you imagine? Some guys have all the luck, some guys have all some guys have everything. Some guys do nothing but complain. I cannot believe that it's been almost 70 years and this remains just one of the most captivating movies I've ever seen. That's something. That's something to me. I know that, you know, because it is almost 70 years old, it's not going to be one of the videos that I post and, you know, gets a ton of views, but I had to spend some time on this one because I thoroughly enjoyed it. The acting is top notch. The story is as immersive as a really big water bottle, or the ocean would be a better way to say that. And the writing is flawless. What can I even say? As usual, I think I went on for far too long. Whatever. I enjoyed the movie. Patrons, I wanted to say you make it financially possible for me to take the time that it takes to make these silly little videos. They might seem, but for me, it's like I'm able to live my dream life and I don't know, just live my dream. I wanted to say just genuinely thank you so much for being here. And to everyone else, I will be seeing you in the next one. Thank you so much. I had fun. Hope you had fun, and I'll see you next time. Bye! Glasses to bed, cause I am a weirdo.